Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good day. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. We are going to start now. Okay, so as you can see that what you have here has got to do with Form 3 listening activities. So before we start, okay, please make sure that you have these items with you. Okay, you have your dictionary, your stationery, your notebook, and your close-up textbook, all right? Okay, so next, please make sure that you respond to the questions as best as you could and unmute in order to reply verbally when it is necessary to do so. Attendance must be informed either to me for my classes or Cikgu Leong and Cikgu Akila for their respective classes. Okay, next. Questions can be addressed to me at any time during this entire presentation or lesson. Any further questions can be directed later through any available means such as WhatsApp and any other available and suitable media. All right. Okay, so take a look at the next slide. Okay, you have here objectives, okay, listening. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to guess the meaning of unfamiliar words from clues provided by other words and by context for 5 words or phrases while listening to the text. And the next one you have recognized with support typical features at word, sentence, and text levels of an interview. Okay, if let's say you find this quite troublesome or quite hard to understand, I'll explain to you guys again later. All right. Okay, so next you have reading. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to guess the meaning of unfamiliar words from clues provided by other words and by context for 5 words or phrases by reading the questions and options. So this one will be coming from your close-up textbook. Okay, so success criteria to see how we successfully complete our lesson for today. For listening, first, you have to listen and identify the main idea. If you're able to do this, it means that our lesson for today is successful. The second one, you have listened to unfamiliar words in use in context of the main ideas. Okay, and next you have guessed the meaning of unfamiliar words from clues provided by other words and by context, main idea for 5 words or phrases while listening to the text. And number 4, you have recognized technical words as language feature of science and technology information in an interview. Okay, for reading, you have to be able to study the surrounding words of unfamiliar words. Next, you have identified the main idea of the paragraph. For number 3, you have guessed the meaning by the clues obtained in steps 1 and 2. And number 4, choose the best meaning from the options given based on your guess. Okay, this will be our table of contents, okay, for this particular lesson today. You have introduction, online listening lessons, further listening activities, and you have conclusion or exit tickets. Okay, introduction. Okay, so for this particular activity, I would like you guys to guess the word. Okay, so this particular person or tradesman installs or fixes your windows and handles materials made from glasses. So can anyone try first? There are supposed to be 7 letters altogether. Anyone would like to try? Anyone? Okay, I start with the first letter, A. So what about the rest of you? Who wants to try? You can unmute, okay, you can unmute the...
No idea, sir.
Okay, no idea. Okay, so this particular person, if you guys still remember from our lessons, okay, in the previous week, we talk about tradesmen or people who somehow come to your house in order to fix your house, right? If you guys still remember. So this particular person is supposed to be responsible to fix your glasses. So anyone, you have a dictionary with you as well, and of course your smartphone. Okay, very good, Sabrina. Okay, the first person, okay, who got the answers correct. So the answer is a glazier, all right? So this particular person is responsible, okay, to fix your glasses if they are broken. So this particular word is connected to our lesson from last week. At the same time, this particular person is also responsible to fix your glasses, materials which are used, okay, to construct buildings or to build buildings, all right? Okay, so next. Okay, the second part of our online lesson for today. Okay, now we have listening activity A, page 62, close up textbook. Okay, now label the pictures with these particular words. Okay, you have bamboo, brick, concrete, netting, steel, and straw. So for picture number 1, it's very easy actually. Can anyone guess for picture number 1? That would be what kind of material?
Brick.
Brick.
Okay, for picture number 1, the answer would be brick. Okay. Alright, okay, for picture number 2. Okay, yes, picture number 2 would be steel. Alright, very good. Steel straw, I'm not so sure, Akmal, but steel rod, R-O-D, alright? Okay, what about picture number 3? It's okay, Akmal. Okay, very good. Okay, concrete. Okay.
Concrete.
Yes, correct. Alright, very good. You have brick, steel, and concrete. Okay, so next you have 3 more materials, okay, in order to construct building. Okay, what about the first one? Straw, very good, Sylvia. Iman, yes, straw. Okay, the next picture, picture number 5. Netting, and of course the last one would be?
Bamboo.
Okay, bamboo. Okay, very good. Okay, so now we have straw, netting, and bamboo. So all these materials are used in order to build buildings, all right? And you are going to see their connections to our next exercise later. Okay, all right. So moving along. Okay, so now you have listening activity B and C, page 62 from your close-up textbook. Listen and read sentences 1 to 5 and choose the best definition for the underlined words. Right? Okay, first read. Okay, we read together. For number 1, you have many buildings came down, crushing and trapping people. Okay, and then you have options. Okay, you have 2 types of answers. The first one, you have people were pushed and fell out of buildings. And for B, you have things fell on top of people and they could not escape. Okay, and for number 2, you have one technique is to reinforce concrete with steel. Okay, and then you have options. Okay, next. You have number 3, buildings made of light materials are less likely to come down in an earthquake. And then you have the option of answers as well, okay, from your textbook. So refer to it as well. And number 4, you have some bricks are cheap and walls made from them crack and collapse very easily. And then you have options A and B. And the last one, you have cheaper materials are better than nothing for poorer countries that can't afford anything else. Okay, so going back, okay, to slide 12, you guys are going to listen, okay, to this particular presenter, okay, reading all these sentences, right? We'll try first.
Listening, Unit 5, page 62B.
1. Many buildings came down, crushing and trapping people. 2. One technique is to reinforce concrete with steel. 3. Buildings made of light materials are less likely to come down in an earthquake. 4. Some bricks are cheap and walls made from them crack and collapse very easily. 5. Cheaper materials are better than nothing for poorer countries that can't afford anything else.
Okay, so going back, okay, to the previous, okay, or the first slide for this particular activity, you can see that many buildings came down, crushing and trapping people. So what do you think will be the answer? People were pushed and fell out of buildings, or is it things fell on top of people and they could not escape?
B.
Yes, very good. Okay, the answer is very obvious. Okay, for most of you guys, it will be B, things fell on top of people and they could not escape. All right. For some of you guys, okay, this particular word is considered as very easy, or this particular phrase. But for some people who don't understand, they must guess, okay, in an intelligent manner by looking at the connection between, okay, crushing and trapping people, and some of the words that come before, such as came down. Okay, we are going to discuss this further later on. Okay, so for number 2, one technique is to reinforce concrete with steel. Is it A or B?
A.
Yes, okay, to make stronger, okay, to reinforce. Okay, can somebody please explain to me how do you get the answer? Is it from your previous lesson, from your previous knowledge, or is it because you guessed correctly? Can anyone explain? How do you process? Okay, Akmal said guess. Okay, Charis know that particular word knowledge. Sophia as well. Amar Badlisha, how do you know this particular meaning? Okay, most of you guys said your knowledge. Okay, very good. Okay, but okay, let's say if this is supposed to be your first time, okay, seeing this particular word. Okay, some students perhaps they will be looking at words such as technique, and then they are going to see words such as concrete with steel. So perhaps they are going to think about something forceful, something which is impactful, or something which is very powerful. So that's how they make connection, okay, and how they try to guess the answer either A or B. Okay, all right. So moving along. Now we have number 3, buildings made of light materials. So light here means, okay, light here means what? Light materials.
They are not strong, sir.
They are not heavy. Okay, they are not, yeah, less weight, very good. Not heavy, okay, Adam. Yes, buildings made of light materials are less likely to come down in an earthquake. So the answer will be?
A.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, number 4, some bricks are cheap. Okay, yes. Okay, Farahia, Amma, thank you very much. So some bricks are cheap and walls made from them crack and collapse very easily. So the answer will be?
A.
Okay, get bigger and fall off. Do you guys agree? Crack and collapse. Yes, the answer should be B, break a bit and fall to pieces. So for number 4, the answer is B. All right. Okay, for number 5, cheaper materials are better than nothing for poorer countries that can't afford anything else. So can't afford means, yes, to not have enough money to pay for something. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Okay, it's obvious to me for some of you guys, this particular exercise is very easy. All right. Yes, Amma, why are you unhappy? Okay, so for some of you guys, this particular exercise is very, very easy. It doesn't matter, okay, because we are going to look at how some students actually make connections so that they can guess the meaning, okay, from the words connected to that particular statement or sentences, all right? Okay, so this is just to check the answers again, okay, for listening activity, all right? You have B, and then you have A, B, and the last one you have A, all right? Okay, so listening activity. They are trying to see, okay, for this particular activity C, they are trying to see how did you know which option to choose. So from your experience just now, Linda, what kind of question is that? Okay, so listen again and check your answers. Okay, how did you know which option to choose between A and B just now? How did you make that particular connection? Can anyone please explain? Yes, okay, Sophia said knowledge, from your previous knowledge, okay, we call that your schema or your schematic. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, or sometimes you will try and use online resources, or perhaps sometimes you use dictionary as well. Okay, so that's how you make connection. That's how you try to make it easier for you to understand the text that you guys are reading. Sophia said she uses her intuition. Okay, Sophia, what's intuition? Can you please? Adam said logic, yes. Sherry said imagine, yes, perhaps, okay, all right. Gut feelings, okay, Sophia said, which can be very, very risky, all right, okay. Amma, I didn't listen to Imagine Dragon, all right. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's how what we call it as intelligent guessing. Okay, and sometimes for certain students, they listen to radios or sometimes they read newspapers. This one from yesterday, for example, a couple of days ago, there's supposed to be London flood chaos. Okay, North Circular underwater, leaving drivers trapped in submerged cars. Okay, so that's how they try to understand the meaning of trap, perhaps for certain students. For most of you guys, hopefully this particular word is not considered as very difficult to understand. All right. As you can see that we go back to the first sentence, okay, many buildings, okay, now you have the phrase crushing and trapping people. Okay, for quite a majority of you, you understand this particular phrase, but if let's say you don't understand, perhaps this particular phrase will help the students to understand together with the visual as well, all right? So that is how sometimes we come to the understanding of certain phrases or words that we don't know the first time around, okay, even though it's obvious to me that you guys find this quite easy, okay? All right. Okay, so listening activity D, okay, page 62 as well, understanding technical or specific words. As you can see there, just now we start with the word glazier, so it's quite technical. Some of us know that particular word, some of us don't. Okay, so in the exam, if you hear technical or difficult words that you do not understand, try not to panic, don't worry. Sometimes it is not that important. As long as you can try to understand the entire sentence, for example, you will still can continue and answer the questions, all right? So that's what they are trying to say here. And the next one we have, think about the words you do know, okay, we just discussed this now, and what the listening is about, and try to use the context to help you understand. So context here means try to look at the entire sentence first, or the entire paragraph, for example, so that you can understand perhaps they are trying to say this thing, etc. So when it comes to crush, trap, etc., perhaps you are thinking about people who are confined in a certain area, etc. So you can imagine that as well, okay? Just as mentioned by Cherry just now, sometimes you have to imagine, sometimes you have to use your previous knowledge, etc. All right? Okay, so further listening activities, okay, this one is becoming more and more challenging, all right? Okay, so listening activity E, page 62, exam task, you will hear some students interviewing engineer Robert Weston. For question 1 to 6, okay, from your textbook, circle the best answer A, B, or C, all right? Okay, so here are the entire questions together with the answers as well, A, B, and C. And question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all right? Okay, so as you can see here, I have highlighted, okay, the first example, Robert is interested in, and then you have recording, numbers, death, earthquakes. So why do you think I'm doing this? What do you think are the reasons why I'm doing this? Can anyone guess? Why did I highlight? Okay, to connect, to make connections. Anything else? Find correlation, very good, a very good word there. Okay, Tivan said, I don't know, it doesn't matter Tivan, we are going to learn something new today. So when you have exam task for listening, the first thing that you have to do is that you are going to be given, okay, a piece of paper with the questions, of course, just like this, all right? And then what you have to do is that, yes, Nazhan, main point, correct. So let's say you have question number 1, I have highlighted the word interested in, because that will be the main point for this particular question. And then I'm going to look at the answers as well. Yes, Sophia, keywords. Okay, I'm going to look at option A, recording, numbers, death, and earthquake will be the keywords for this particular part. For B, you have how rescue people collapse buildings. And then for C, you have how construct buildings won't fall down. Different phrase, yes. So when I'm doing this, okay, before the listening task or the listening test happens, this will make it easier for me to understand what's going to happen next, or what I'm going to listen next. Understood? Meaning that you anticipate what you are going to listen to. Okay, because when I come to listening, it is sometimes it's going to be very, very fast. Okay, it's going to be very, very quick. If you don't follow the instructions, if you don't listen to the statements being read to you, okay, very, very carefully, you will miss a lot of points. So you do this first. The first time you guys are given the text for your listening test or task, all right, you highlight first. Okay, I did that for our first sample. For the second until 6, okay, I leave it a blank. Okay, perhaps we want to do this together. Okay, let's say for the second one. Okay, so what do you think will be the main keywords here? Modern building methods. Okay, method, yes. What else? I think all 3 of them are very important. So I will highlight, okay, perhaps, okay, modern building methods. You are going to see the answers after this, okay. right? And then for answer A, don't use steel or concrete. Yes, I will highlight steel and or concrete, and I will highlight don't as well. Okay, that's very important. For option B, offer cheap solutions. I will highlight the entire thing actually. Okay, Adam and Sophia and Sayla, right? And then for C, are too expensive for poor countries. Yes, too expensive for poor countries. All right, you guys are going to see which part I highlighted later on. Okay, for number 3, roofs are stronger when they are made from. Which part are you going to highlight? Stronger, perhaps roofs as well, right? Yes, okay, roofs are stronger when they are made from as well, all right? Okay, for number 3, the answers A, B, C, you have no choices there. All of them are very important, from concrete, metal to straw. For question number 4, yes. Okay, so for number 4, you have plastic netting is used to. Okay, I think I will highlight plastic netting first and then used to. Okay, for the answer, okay, yes, Afra, correct. So for the answer A, I think the entire thing, whole roofs in place, right? Okay, for B, whole walls together. For C, protect houses underneath. Okay, protect houses underneath. Okay, we go to number 5 now. What are engineers testing in Indonesia? Which one are you going to underline or highlight? Yes, testing, but I think you miss certain important items there as well. For example, what? Okay, when you have the WH questions, always highlight those, okay, particular question first. What, when, why, where, all right? How, okay, the H question as well. So when you have that, highlight that part as well, all right? And then you have engineers, testing, and Indonesia. So before the listening task, so highlight all these things first. And then for answer A, which part are you guys going to highlight? Yes, correct. How as well. Yes, how build bamboo instead of metal. Okay, for B. For B. Okay, protect house below the structure and how. Yes, how protect houses and below the structure. Okay, good. Okay, next we have how to construct walls with sand. Okay, how again? Yes, correct. Okay, I've told you guys the WH question plus 1 each. And then construct walls and sand. Yes. Okay, next, the last one, Robert thinks. Okay, Robert thinks that using cheap or local materials. So this one you guys are going to highlight which part? Okay, I think I will highlight Robert thinks using cheap or local materials. Yes, things, okay, Tivan, correct, because this would be his thoughts, okay, what he thinks about, okay, all right. So next you have, is completely useless? Yes, completely useless. Okay, what about the next one? Is better than using expensive materials? Is better than using expensive materials? Okay, better than, okay, expensive materials. I will highlight better than expensive materials. And the last part, may not. Okay, may not produce the best results. Yes, okay, not produce best results. Okay, so take a look at this particular slide now. As you can see there, all right, I highlighted, okay, this particular slide here. Robert is interested in recording numbers, deaths, earthquakes, how to rescue people from collapsed buildings, how construct buildings won't fall down. Okay, so now you guys are going to listen, okay, for this particular activity for the first time around, all right?
Listening, Unit 5, page 62E.
You will hear some students interviewing engineer Robert Weston. For questions 1 to 6, choose the best answer, A, B, or C. Now, as you know, we're doing a project on earthquakes and buildings, and we're lucky to have a visit today from Robert Weston, who's an engineer and an expert on this subject. He's here to tell us about the latest information on designing buildings and how we can protect buildings from these disasters. Please welcome Robert.
Thanks very much. I'm happy to answer any questions you have for your project. Well, as we all know, earthquakes can cause thousands of deaths. The one in Haiti in January 2010 killed over 200,000 people. But the reason so many people died is not the earthquake itself. It's the fact that many buildings collapsed, crushing and trapping people. What interests me and other engineers is how we can build houses in developing countries that don't collapse during strong earthquakes.
That's interesting. Now, has anyone got any questions? Put your hands up.
Yes, can you tell us? Are there any regulations when you construct buildings in richer countries? I mean, to make the buildings safe from earthquakes?
Yes, there are. Modern concrete buildings are made stronger with steel, but this is expensive, so many poorer countries don't have the money for it. They just can't afford to pay for this. That's why engineers are looking at cheap solutions to protect buildings.
So what sort of things are engineers developing?
Well, one technique is to use more suitable building materials. Let's think about a country like Haiti. Roofs on houses are often made of heavy concrete, and this collapses easily if there is an earthquake. But engineers have discovered that metal roofs supported on wood are stronger.
What other kind of materials are best then?
We need to use materials that are as light as possible, because these are less likely to fall when the ground is shaking. In Pakistan, walls can be made from straw.
Straw? Really?
That's right. The straw is pressed into blocks, and then plastic netting holds the walls together. We put this on the inside of the wall. Of course, the outside of the wall is painted and looks completely normal.
Is it true that some brick walls aren't strong enough if there is an earthquake?
That depends. In Peru, they use a kind of brick which is locally produced and cheap to build walls. But these walls crack and collapse very easily. Again, plastic netting can hold these walls together better so that people can escape when there is an earthquake.
So, Robert, what other local materials do developing countries use?
Well, in India, engineers are using bamboo to make concrete stronger. And in Indonesia, they're trying to protect houses from underneath. They've put old tyres filled with sand under the building and then construct the house on top.
Sorry, but are these cheap and local materials really better in an earthquake?
Generally, yes. Some of them are not as effective as more expensive methods, but they're better than nothing at all, and something that poorer countries can afford.
So, finally, Robert, do you think these new ideas will help protect people in these countries?
Well, I hope so, but so far progress has been slow. Some of these new types of houses have been built, but sadly many millions of people are still in danger.
Well, let's hope that many more houses will be safer in the future. Robert, many thanks for coming to talk to us today.
My pleasure.
Okay, so that will be the first time, okay, that we are going to listen to this particular text being read to you, okay, or an interview actually, okay, between a student and an expert, okay, Robert Weston. Okay, so for question number 1, for example, when you take a look at this particular question, you can see that Robert is interested in, we have highlighted that particular part, and then we have highlighted several areas of that particular answers as well from A, B, and C, all right? Okay, so how do you guys come to your conclusion when it comes to the answer? Okay, for this particular part is quite obvious. The answer would be, for question number 1, the answer would be C, yes, okay. How to construct buildings that won't fall down, okay. So take a look at the word construct, okay, in the list of answer for C. In the actual dialogue, okay, Robert Weston used the word build. Okay, I'm going to show to you guys, right? There. So you can see here, this would be the actual dialogue by Robert Weston, okay, timestamp at around 42 seconds. So what interests me and other engineers is how we can build houses in developing countries that don't collapse during strong earthquakes. As you can see there, That's the reason why we highlight, okay? It will be easier for you guys to remember. And then build houses here, okay? Construct buildings, okay? Original dialogue, they use the word, or he uses the word build, okay? So be careful here as well. So you have to know the synonyms of this particular word. This particular section or this particular part is very, very popular when it comes to listening tests because they are going to use lots of synonym. So students who are unaware will be quite clueless, okay? Because they think that they will hear the word construct being read, okay, in the dialogue. Instead, they use a different word, which is build, all right? So be careful of that as well. Okay, in the answer you have buildings, but in the original text, okay, or in the original transcript, you have houses, all right? Okay, the red part, okay, the red highlights, as you can see there. Okay, for the answer, they use won't fall down, but Robert Weston mentioned don't collapse. Again, synonym. Okay, if let's say you guys are not aware of these particular synonyms, okay, it will be quite hard for you guys to get the answer correct. Okay, so I'm hoping that I'm making myself clear here. All right, so moving along for the next question. Okay, so modern building methods. Okay, the first one you have don't use steel or concrete. The next one you have offer cheap solutions. And the next one you have are too expensive for poor countries. So I'm going to repeat the listening task exercise again. Okay, so listen carefully. For those of you guys who couldn't listen to this particular audio, please mute your microphone, all right? Okay, I'm going to start now.
Listening, Unit 5, page 62E.
You will hear some students interviewing engineer Robert Weston. For questions 1 to 6, choose the best answer, A, B, or C. Now, as you know, we're doing a project on earthquakes and buildings, and we're lucky to have a visit today from Robert Weston, who's an engineer and an expert on this subject. He's here to tell us about the latest information on designing buildings and how we can protect buildings from these disasters. Please welcome Robert.
Thanks very much. I'm happy to answer any questions you have for your project. Well, as we all know, earthquakes can cause thousands of deaths. The one in Haiti in January 2010 killed over 200,000 people. But the reason so many people died is not the earthquake itself. It's the fact that many buildings collapsed, crushing and trapping people. What interests me and other engineers is how we can build houses in developing countries that don't collapse during strong earthquakes.
That's interesting. Now, has anyone got any questions? Put your hands up.
Yes, can you tell us? Are there any regulations when you construct buildings in richer countries? I mean, to make the buildings safe from earthquakes?
Yes, there are. Modern concrete buildings are made stronger with steel, but this is expensive, so many poorer countries don't have the money for it. They just can't afford to pay for this. That's why engineers are looking at cheap solutions to protect buildings.
So what sort of things are engineers developing?
Well, one technique is to use more suitable building materials. Let's think about a country like Haiti. Roofs on houses are often made of heavy concrete, and this collapses easily if there is an earthquake. But engineers have discovered that metal roofs supported on wood are stronger.
What other kind of materials are best then?
We need to use materials that are as light as possible, because these are less likely to fall when the ground is shaking. In Pakistan, walls can be made from straw.
Straw? Really?
That's right. The straw is pressed into blocks, and then plastic netting holds the walls together. We put this on the inside of the wall. Of course, the outside of the wall is painted and looks completely normal.
Is it true that some brick walls aren't strong enough if there is an earthquake?
That depends. In Peru, they use a kind of brick which is locally produced and cheap to build walls. But these walls crack and collapse very easily. Again, plastic netting can hold these walls together better so that people can escape when there is an earthquake.
So, Robert, what other local materials do developing countries use?
Well, in India, engineers are using bamboo to make concrete stronger. And in Indonesia, they're trying to protect houses from underneath. They've put old tyres filled with sand under the building and then construct the house on top.
Sorry, but are these cheap and local materials really better in an earthquake?
Generally, yes. Some of them are not as effective as more expensive methods, but they're better than nothing at all, and something that poorer countries can afford.
So, finally, Robert, do you think these new ideas will help protect people in these countries?
Well, I hope so, but so far progress has been slow. Some of these new types of houses have been built, but sadly many millions of people are still in danger.
Well, let's hope that many more houses will be safer in the future. Robert, many thanks for coming to talk to us today.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we have come to the end for the second time. We listened to this particular interview. Okay, so what will be your answer for question number 2? Modern building methods. Okay, so Sophia said C, Adam said C as well. Okay, Amar said C as well. Okay, we are going to take a look. Okay, so that will be the part, okay, where Robert Weston mentioned this particular answer. Okay, timestamp at around 1 minute 20 seconds. So they are modern concrete buildings, as you can see there. Okay, that's why they are very important to be highlighted, which are made stronger with steel. So A is out already, as you can see. Don't use steel or concrete. So modern building methods don't use steel or concrete. This is wrong, right? Because they are made stronger with steel. So A is out. But this is expensive. Again here, very quickly, B is out as well, because modern building methods offer cheap solutions will be against the one mentioned by Robert Weston, all right? So he did say that this is expensive, okay? It is not cheap. So A and B is out, so the obvious answer would be C. Okay, so take a look at the highlight as well. Too expensive for poor countries. Here you can see that they just can't afford to pay for this. The reason why we learned about the meaning of the word can't afford just now, right? So moving along for number 3. Okay, so roofs are stronger when they are made from... Okay, so we move along to question number 3 now. So roofs are stronger when they are made from... Okay, some of you guys said C, straw, B, C, A. Okay, lots of answers, okay. All right, I believe that for those who chose straw, because it comes after the discuss, okay, the answer that we are looking for. Okay, the straw is actually used, okay, to make walls, okay, not roofs. So you have to be careful there, because they are so, how do you say that? They are so fast sometimes, okay? Sometimes you are not aware what they are talking about, okay? As if they are still talking about roofs when they have moved on to a different topic. So be careful there as well. So the answer is, okay, so Robert Weston mentioned, okay, roofs, as you can see there, on houses are often made of heavy concrete, and this collapses easily, all right, if there is an earthquake. But engineers have discovered that metal roof supported on wood are stronger, okay. As you can see there, wood here is becoming a distractor sometimes, okay. Luckily it is not mentioned here. And straw comes right after this particular statement, right? So the best answer is, of course, B. All right, metal. All right, so this particular part, okay, caused a lot of confusion to most students, okay, from my previous exercise as well. So you have to be careful. They mentioned the word straw, metal, and some of the item is not even mentioned in the answers as well, such as wood, which caused a lot of confusion, okay, because students are sort of like trying to identify, okay, in that particular listening part, okay, where and which is which. So you have to be careful there as well, all right? So that's why highlighting again is very important, highlighting or underlining, all right? So we move on to the next statement or question, which is number 4. Plastic netting is used to hold roofs in place, hold walls together and protect houses from underneath. Okay, so hold walls together. Okay, yes. Okay, Afiq, B. All right, yes. Okay, so let's see how they explain the answer. Okay, so Robert Weston mentioned in Pakistan walls can be made from straw. As you can see there, straw to make walls. The straw is pressed into blocks and then plastic netting holds the wall together. So that's why the answer for this particular statement or question number 4 is B. Right? Okay, good. Next we have number 5. Okay, what are engineers testing in Indonesia? How to protect houses from below the structure. Okay, good. Okay, so here Robert Weston mentioned, well, in India, engineers are using bamboo, okay, to make concrete stronger. So some students will choose A, all right, if they are careless. That's why it's very important for you guys to pay attention carefully when it comes to listening tasks or tests. And in Indonesia, so very quick there, transition from India to Indonesia, all right. So India, bamboo. Indonesia, okay, a different thing, all right. And in Indonesia, they are trying to protect houses from underneath. As you can see there, the answer here I underlined below the structure. And in the statement, it is from underneath. Again, you have to know the synonym as well, right? It's very important, okay. All right, the last one, guys. Okay, the answer is B. Robert thinks that using cheap or local materials completely useless is better than using expensive materials or may not produce the best result. Okay. Okay, let's say we repeat, okay? For the
Listening,
last part.
Unit 5.
Ideas will
Okay,
help
listen first,
protect people in these countries.
Well, I hope so, but so
So, Robert, what other local materials do developing countries use?
of course, the outside of the wall is painted and looks completely normal.
Okay, listen
Is it
first.
true that some brick walls aren't strong enough if there is an earthquake?
That depends. In Peru, they use a kind of brick which is locally produced and cheap to build walls. But these walls crack and collapse very easily. Again, plastic netting can hold these walls together better so that people can escape when there is an earthquake.
So, Robert, what other local materials do developing countries use?
Well, in India, engineers can't afford to pay for this. That's why engineers are looking at cheap solutions to protect buildings.
So what sort of things are engineers developing?
Well, one technique is to use more suitable building materials. Let's think about a country like Haiti. Roofs on houses are often made of heavy concrete, and this collapses easily if there is an earthquake. But engineers have discovered that metal roofs supported on wood are stronger.
What other kind of materials are best then?
We need to use materials that are as light as possible, because these
Okay, let me show you guys straight away, okay, what he mentioned, all right? Okay, so at around 3:15.
are less likely to fall. Of course, again,
Local
Cheap and local.
they've put old tyres filled with sand under the building and then construct the house on top.
Sorry, but are these cheap and local materials really better in an earthquake?
Generally, yes. Some of them are not as effective as more expensive methods, but they're better than nothing at all, and something that poorer countries can afford.
Okay, so what do you think is the answer for the last question? Okay, the student asked, sorry, but are these cheap and local materials really better in an earthquake? Generally, yes. Okay, generally, yes. Some of them are not as effective as more expensive methods, but they are better than nothing at all. Okay, we take a look at the answers first. For A is completely useless. So this one is out of the question, meaning that we put it aside. It is not considered as the answer at all. For B is better than using expensive materials. This sounds logical, right? Okay. And then for C, may not produce the best result. So some students, what will happen is that I think they are going to see this particular answer and they make conclusion here from this particular statement as well. But in my opinion, the most important keyword is here actually, all right? So, sorry, but are these cheap and local materials really better in an earthquake? Generally, yes. So the answer is generally yes. The answer is yes. Aizat, the answer is actually B, is better than using expensive materials. Generally, it is B. Okay, Sophia? So may not produce the best result, perhaps, okay, because of this particular statement. Okay, this is what we call as distractor. They are trying to distract you guys because he did say generally. So overall, it is better. But sometimes, of course, the most expensive materials will be better compared to the cheaper one. All right, so that will be how we sort of like process answers and questions just like this. Okay, a lot of things are going on actually when it comes to listening. You have to read, you have to remember some of the questions and answers and options, and then of course, you have to process ideas as well. Compared to reading, for example, where the text is on top of your table, you can reread again and again until you understand, right? So that's why sometimes when I come to listening tasks, okay, it is better for you guys to highlight first, underline, and try not to be distracted by the answers. And of course, try not to be distracted by your surrounding as well. Because I noticed that when I come to testing, for example, sometimes students, what will happen is that they will let themselves to be disturbed by their friends. They are slightly, how do you say that, confused. Okay, so therefore they try to disturb their friends. Don't do that to your friend, and don't let your friend do that to you as well. All right, so focus on your question, focus on your answer. All right, and you have to remember that when I come to PT3, they are going to give you guys 2 chances. Okay, the first time around, just like what we did for today, and the second time around, so that you can check your answers again. So the time given to you guys, okay, before the task, before the test, during the test, and after the test is very important, so that you can check your answers and make sure that everything is correct. Okay, all right. So moving along. Okay, yes, the answer would be, for number 6 would be B. Okay, conclusion, exit tickets. Okay, what new words or phrases that you have learned today? Can anyone mention to me? At least a few. Okay, glazier. Yes, Sophia. Okay, you know that glazier means a person who fixes glasses. Anything else? Siti Masyara's T. What is T? Hardworking, sir. All right, steel. Yes, steel. Siti Masyara. Steel, I think steel is too easy for you, right? You know the meaning of steel already. Okay, something made from iron usually. Okay, it's okay, Siti. All right. Okay, anything else? Any other phrases or words that you have learned? Let's say the different types of concrete and brick and building materials, right? Okay, so I think that will be the end of today's lesson for today. Okay, so thank you so much, okay, for your cooperation for the entire lesson actually from our first week together until now. So do you have any further questions? Do you have any further questions, guys? Before I see you guys again next week, do you have any further questions? No. Okay, I think that would be unfortunately no, Aznabil. Okay, yes, I would like to say thank you to everyone and each one of you guys. Okay, even from Cikgu Akila's class and Cikgu Leong's class as well. Okay, for your cooperation, for being able to participate in my class as well. So if there are any questions that you want to direct to me or your teacher, do so later. All right. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Aznabil. Okay, bye-bye, guys. All right. I have to stop the recording now, all right? Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, bye. Okay, please make sure that your attendance is given to your teacher, okay? All right, done.